10-year-old girl stands on a beach in Thailand, her feet sinking into the sand. Behind her, tourists laugh and splash in the waves. In front of her, the ocean starts to foam, bubble, and then quietly pull away.
Why is it going out so far?
Everyone thinks it's just low tide,
Something's wrong.
but she knows the truth.
Water is disappearing.
What she's seeing means death is coming. December 2004. It is the dry season and a peak tourist season. The weather is typically perfect for tourists, with abundant
Look how
sunshine,
tall the
blue
tower is
skies,
now.
calm seas, and pleasant temperatures, perfect for enjoying beaches and water activities. No one on that beach had a clue that beneath the Indian Ocean, the Earth had already torn itself apart. In just minutes, the most powerful earthquake in modern Asian history would send a wall of water racing toward them, faster than a passenger jet. But the only warning that hundreds of people would ever get came from a 10-year-old girl from England. This is the unbelievable true story of Tilly Smith, the schoolgirl who saw what no one else could, and how her stubbornness turned a day of paradise into a miracle of survival. Keep watching, because by the end of this story, you'll see how one child's memory saved over 100 lives, while 200,000 others across the world never even saw it coming. It started like any perfect family vacation. The Smiths were an ordinary family from Surrey, England. Tilly, her younger sister Holly, her mom Penny, and her dad Colin. When her parents said they'd be spending Christmas in Thailand, Tilly was ecstatic. Beaches, palm trees, the kind of turquoise water you only see on postcards. It was paradise. They landed at Mai Khao Beach in Phuket just before Christmas Day. Tourists from all over the world were there. The weather was flawless. The air smelled of salt and sunscreen. For Tilly, it was heaven. But what she didn't know, what no one there knew, was that deep beneath the Indian Ocean, two enormous tectonic plates were grinding against each other, building pressure. Pressure that was seconds away from snapping. It was the morning of December 26th, 2004. Tilly and her family woke up early, had breakfast, and headed straight for the beach. The sky was clear. The air was warm and heavy, humming with the sound of waves. It was one of those perfect tropical mornings that almost feels too calm. By mid-morning, the sand was crowded with tourists. Kids were building sandcastles, couples were tanning, and locals were setting up small stalls for snacks and drinks. Nothing about the day looked dangerous. Nothing looked strange. At least, not yet. Tilly's parents spread out towels and started to relax. Her dad was reading, her mom chatting with other visitors. But Tilly, full of energy, started walking closer to the shoreline. And that's when she noticed something odd. The water didn't look right. Bubbles began to rise to the surface. Foam started to gather near the shore. The waves, once gentle, now seemed confused, pulling back a little too far, then pushing forward in uneasy bursts. And then it happened. The sea began to recede. The tide didn't just go out, it vanished. Water was dragging itself away from the beach faster and farther than she'd ever seen. Shells, coral, and stranded fish littered the newly exposed ocean floor. Tourists cheered. Kids ran out to pick up sea creatures and take photos. No one thought anything of it. But Tilly froze. Her chest tightened. Her brain flashed back to something she'd learned only a few weeks earlier in geography class. Her teacher had shown a video, a grainy clip of ocean water doing exactly this before a massive wall of water struck the coast. It was a tsunami warning. She remembered the lesson word for word.
When the sea pulls away, run!
Her heart began to race. She turned to her parents, shouting over the noise of the waves.
Dad, the sea, it's wrong, it's gonna come back.
It's just the tide, Tilly, it's fine.
No, I saw this, I know what's happening, it's a tsunami.
Her dad looked around. Other tourists were relaxed. Nothing seemed urgent. He crouched down beside her.
It's okay, honey, don't worry. See, everyone else is calm. It's probably just a really low tide.
But Tilly couldn't shake it. Every detail from that classroom video matched what she was seeing now. Then came a sound. A low, distant rumble, like thunder rolling deep beneath the earth. That's when her instincts screamed at her. Run. But no one else moved. They just watched as the ocean pulled further and further away. Tilly started crying.
We're all gonna die if we stay here.
Finally, her dad sighed. All right, let's go talk to someone, okay? Maybe the hotel staff can explain it. Her mother stayed behind for a moment, still convinced it was nothing. The water had receded hundreds of meters. They started walking toward the nearest resort building. As they reached the edge of the hotel property, Tilly's father spotted a security guard. He hesitated, feeling ridiculous for what he was about to say. Look, my daughter thinks there's going to be a tsunami. The guard blinked, unsure of what the word meant. Before he could answer, a Japanese man walking nearby overheard them. He turned sharply. If she thinks there's a tsunami, you must leave the beach, now! The guard's face changed instantly. He started blowing his whistle and shouting to the tourists. The relaxed laughter turned to confusion. People started grabbing their things, calling for their kids, running toward the hotel.
Hurry, run to the low Lucy.
And that's when they saw it. Out on the horizon, something massive was rising, a dark, rolling wall stretching across the entire width of the ocean. It wasn't a wave. It was the ocean itself, lifted and twisted by raw power, 30 feet high, moving at nearly 500 miles an hour. The first wave of the 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami was coming straight for them. The moment the ocean struck, everything changed. The first wave smashed straight into the beachfront restaurants and huts, turning wood and glass into flying shrapnel. Tilly and her parents sprinted toward the hotel. The hotel stood on slightly higher ground. People flooded inside, climbing stairs, pushing upward, desperate for height. Outside, the once beautiful coastline was unrecognizable. Where there had been beaches, there was now a churning river of brown, debris-filled water. Cars floated like toys. Whole roofs were being carried inland. The sound was deafening, like thunder and explosions combined. Down on the streets, people who hadn't made it to higher ground clung to anything that floated. Trees, doors, even refrigerator doors torn from kitchens. Some were pulled under. Others disappeared behind collapsing buildings. And then came the second wave. It was even bigger. It hit with so much force that it pushed the first wave's debris back out to sea, only to pull it all back again. The water was filled with shards of glass, metal, wood. Anything it could carry became a weapon. The tsunami didn't just drown people. It tore entire towns apart. It didn't stop with Thailand. That earthquake had triggered something monstrous. The epicenter, deep in the Indian Ocean near Sumatra, had unleashed the equivalent of 23,000 atomic bombs worth of energy. It was the most powerful earthquake Asia had ever recorded. Magnitude 9.1. The shock waves spread across the ocean in all directions. Within hours, the tsunami reached 14 countries, from Indonesia to India, from Sri Lanka to the coast of Africa. In some places, people had no idea what was coming. There were no warning systems, no alerts, no global communication fast enough to spread the news. Whole villages vanished in seconds. In Indonesia alone, more than 160,000 lives were lost. In Sri Lanka, entire trains were swept off their tracks. In India, coastal towns were erased. In total, around 230,000 people were gone. Just like that. The 2004 Indian Ocean tsunami became one of the deadliest natural disasters in modern history. But amid the destruction, on that single stretch of beach in Phuket, something different had happened. At My Cow Beach, not a single person died. Not one. Because a 10-year-old girl had remembered a classroom lesson. Because she refused to stay quiet. Because she was stubborn enough to make adults listen. Her warning had triggered a full evacuation. Over 100 people reached safety before the first wave hit. That stretch of coast became one of the few areas with 0 fatalities. When the news spread, the world couldn't believe it. Who was this kid who had outsmarted nature itself? Her name was Tilly Smith, and overnight she became known as the Angel of the Beach. She trusted what she knew, even when no one believed her, and that's what made all the difference. A 10-year-old girl saw what thousands of adults couldn't. She turned fear into action, and in doing so, she gave the world one of the most powerful reminders of what it means to listen, to learn, to believe yourself, even when no one else does. So the next time you see something that doesn't feel right, remember Tilly. Sometimes that uneasy feeling might just save your life.